Hola YouTube, my name is Ricardo Lino and I'm a wheel addict. Welcome to the Skate Talks number 7. And today my guest is, I would say, a childhood hero. My guest today used to skate for a brand called Senate. I'm pretty sure most of you know about Senate wheels. He also used to skate, he used to be a pro skater for Salomon. And he had video parts in way too many videos. You might know him for his SAVANNAHS, but for a while a lot of people haven't seen anything from him skating. So today I'm gonna call Mr. Billy Prislin. Let's see what's up with Mr. Billy Prislin. Let's make the phone call. Yo, what's up, Billy? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm all good. I just made a little intro about you where I said that you used to be one of my childhood heroes. Basically, we're about the same age, but when I was
Nice.
I don't know, like when I was like 16, 17, a little bit 17, 18, when VG8 came out, I saw your video part like way too many times. So I remember I used to know like every single trick that was coming next and the way you grab your grinds and everything. I remember every single trick from that video. But the truth is, for a while, no one saw anything from Mr. Billy Prislin. So what's up with Billy Prislin? What you up to nowadays?
Now I'm just working a 9 to 5 job. Like I found a good, solid company to work for, and just been trying to like build like a foundation so that I have somewhere to go forward. And it took a long time for me to get there.
What do you do in that 9 to 5 job?
Shipping, receiving, warehouse work.
Okay. And why did you say it took that much? Why did you say it took a long time for you to get there? Was it hard for you to leave those skating days, or?
I guess. I mean, I never really like had like a job or anything. Like I didn't know how to like go to an interview and lock down a job and stuff like that. So like, I don't know. The way I am socially is like really weird. So it took me a while to even like get over that and just go to an interview and actually like hold a conversation with the person giving me an interview.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit then. So you told me before this interview you started skating when you were about 12, 13, right?
Right.
Okay, and then when did you first start getting paid to skate?
I think around like 17.
Okay, so maybe you think that has anything to do with your problem, like you were saying, to get a job. Maybe because when everyone else were young and trying to get a job, you're just getting paid to skate. Do you think that might have done any difference?
Yeah, not really. I'm not really like falling on that though. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like what really happened was I wasn't like committed to anything like fully. Like I was in college and I was skating and I was like DJing and I was doing all these things, and I was like super stoked that I was sponsored and like traveling with skating. So I'm like, why am I gonna be sitting here like spending half of my time in school when I should be like following this, And then like the other part of me is thinking like, oh, but you need to like finish school and this and this and that. So it's like, I don't know. I just went in a couple different directions and I never like developed any like skills that I could actually use.
So you end up not finishing school then?
No, well, I did finish school.
Yeah. What did you study?
What's that?
What did you study? What did you went school for?
Psychology.
Psychology? Okay.
Yeah.
And did you finish college or?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you work in anything related with it nowadays?
It's just, I don't know. It's just not something I felt like going into. You know, like once I finished with the degree, I just wanted to, just find a job somewhere and just move on from that. You know, like I was glad the things that I learned, and I was glad to have a degree, but it's not the direction I wanted to go.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened with me. So basically, and I've studied something that I enjoy somehow, but I did work a little bit on it. I've studied sports science, and for a little bit, I used to be like a personal trainer and work in a primary school teaching kids and stuff like that. But then I just couldn't do it anymore. But nowadays, what I do, and I end up putting everything together, which is like what I love to do and what I've studied. So maybe later in life, you're gonna somehow find a way to work with what you've studied and put it with something that you like to do. Who knows it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, you used to skate for Senate. Senate used to be like probably one of the biggest brands that inline skating ever had. How did the whole thing happen to you? How did you first started skating for Senate?
Uh, well, it kind of started with, I guess it started with Team Paradise because um, Shane Coburn, who ended up like starting medium later on, but he was the team manager at Team Paradise, which was like a roller warehouse back then or whatever, like a skate cattle.
I remember Team Paradise, like they were known worldwide. So
Yeah. You just told me you skated, but you grew up skating in that era too. So
yeah,
but so he was the team manager, and I was like trying to get sponsored by Team Paradise for a really long time. And so like Shane started to know like who I was, like he saw my like sponsor me tape and all that, but like it just never worked out with the contract and stuff. And then by the time like I got a contract back, and it was like a year and a half later or something like that, and it was like Shane Coburn was already gone, and like it was just like I was like already over it, like just moving on to like something else. And then like I saw at the VG4 premiere, I think it was around Team Paradise somewhere, like in Huntington Beach, and Shane was there. He had just started like medium, and it was like so much like hype around medium with Jake Elliott and stuff, and like it was just crazy. And like I saw him, and he recognized me, and I'm like, hey, do you have a flow team, you know? And he's like, yeah, you want to be on it? And like handed me 4 wheels, like Jake Elliott, like anti-rocker wheels, like the outside. And was just like so stoked, dude. I was just like, what? And so I was on flow for medium like for a while, like maybe 6 months or a year or something. And then like it's actually kind of a long story how I ended up on Senate. So I mean that's just the beginning. And then after that, for a while, what's his name? Shane Nelson in I think Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
He was starting a United wheel company, and he was like trying to get me on there like really bad. And like Joe, Joe Noah Brown, he was like convincing me. He's like, yeah, you should go, you should do it. But like it was kind of weird because they had Nick Potterick as pro, and Joe thought if he was pro, I should be pro, but they wanted me to be AM, you know.
But that for United or for medium?
For United.
Okay.
And so like nothing was really. I talked to Shane Nelson on the phone a couple times, and we had like verbally, I told him like, yeah, I'm down, you know. And then like all of a sudden, like a week later, I was skating with Roadhouse, Randy Spicer, and Brian Kanowski at this school, and like they already knew me from the medium days and stuff, and just from being around like 714, like Orange County area, like me and Randy and like a couple others were kind of some of the only ones like back then, you know, like a small group of people that was growing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew who I was already. And
was that before or after the VG8 video part came out?
that was before. That was like way before. This is like right around. I don't remember which video the trick was in, but it was true top acid on like a square rail.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that true top acid. I don't remember what video, but I remember that true top acid with some. Was it with some white skates, right? Some Fifth Elements, yeah.
Fifth Element.
I don't remember the video. Which video was it? But I remember that trick.
And so like Roadhouse and Brian BK were right there, and they're just like, we should put Billy on Senate, and they like, and then just like looked at each other like, yeah, that'd be funny, or like that'd be cool or something. And then like a couple days later, like they're just like hitting me up. They're like, yo, they talked to like Brooke about it and Arlo, and they're just like, hell yeah, fucking. So it just like real quick, I just had to kind of like tell Shane, you know, like, I don't know, man. They want me to skate for Senate, and
yeah, and it's one of those brands you couldn't say no, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you went straight to the pro team, or you were first amp for a while, and then?
No, I was amp for a while, like a pretty kind of like actual real long time, because for one, I wasn't ASA pro, and it was like. It wasn't like really a thing to go pro unless you were ASA pro, like on a pro tour.
I remember that. I remember going to ASA AM contest in Paris, and the first 10 would go pro. I think that was it. The first 10 would go pro, or the first 10 would be competing in the States in the AM to go pro, something like that. I don't remember, but I remember you used to need to be in the first 10 to go ASA pro, right?
Yeah. And I had a real hard time with that because I didn't really like link my tricks together in a line really well. I didn't know how to hit like hips and launch boxes. I could really only do like a go forward. Like I wasn't comfortable doing a 360 really. Like I just never trained on that stuff or anything. So like I was doing like true spin kind grinds, and like everybody was going crazy, but like it didn't end up to be like a high scoring run because it wasn't like it didn't have flow for like the crowd and stuff, you know.
I get what you're saying. You're more like back then like a street skater, and the street skater back then used to be like a rail skater or a ledge skater or something.
Yeah, like I just like specialized in rails, and I couldn't like branch out from that really. Like I didn't see the big picture. I just tried to do like the hardest, craziest trick, and like since everybody was cheering and stuff, when I came off of the rail, I thought I was doing good, and then I never qualified as like ASA pro, and it was just like, what the fuck, man?
But you end up having
and it all makes sense now, you know. But like, and people were telling me at the time like, oh, you need to do it like this, and they were saying it, and it was just like, dude, I just want to do true spins, and like I don't know, it was. I was just a weird way about it.
You had your own thing going on.
Yeah.
But you end up having some pro wheels for Senate. I was looking yesterday. You even had a pro shirt, for Senate.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And if you weren't ASA pro, how did you end up getting into Salomon Pro Team?
Well, me and Jeff Frederick, I think like 6 months or a year before me, turned pro without going ASA pro on Senate. Like, it still wasn't like a skate sponsor thing yet. And then, so Kevin Gillen wanted, like, he like pushed him to really turn me pro also, like right after that on Senate. And then once that happened, it just kind of like, it was like Salomon just, put my wheels on their skate and was like, I don't know, there's no reason. Like, it was almost like I just went for like a year on Salomon, like on like the national team, and then like just, everything was cruising right along, there's just whatever, make them pro. So like, there's no reason not to. Like, I don't know how that really happened. It just kind of happened.
Who was the Salomon team manager back then? Was it anyone that skated or?
Mike Wilson. I don't know if he's like a recreational skater or not, but he rides a lot of bike and cycling and stuff.
Okay. And then when you were M on Senate, were you on a monthly payment or something like that, or only when you got pro you start getting paid?
Pro. Only when I got pro, yeah.
Okay, so now the question. You saw that a few people made some questions on Facebook, including myself. I made the question. So, like nowadays, of course, there's some people still getting paid, even if skating is a lot smaller compared to what it used to be. But just out of curiosity, if you can say it, of course, how much would Senate would pay for a pro skater back then?
I think with all the companies, I think it's different for each person. I don't know, like depending on.
Yeah, of course. If you were like Roadhouse back then, you would be paid probably more and all that. But
yeah, and even if it wasn't Roadhouse, just somebody like, say there's somebody who's been there like a year longer than you or something like that. Like, I don't know, seniority and whatever, But well, they started for me. I started off at like $250 a month from from Senate, and then like I think like a year later it went to like 500, and then like for like and back then minimum wage was like $7 or something like $7-8
per set of wheels. Would you get paid per set of wheels too, like loyalties?
Yeah, it was like 10 or 15 cents or something like that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Per wheel or per set?
Per set.
Okay.
Or maybe per wheel, I don't remember, but it was like, and for the shirts it was like 50 cents or a quarter or something like that.
Did that make a difference in the end of the month or not really?
Only when they put my wheels on the skates, there was like a huge, like, all of a sudden out of nowhere, there was like a huge, like, royalty check from Senate, like, on the wheels, because they, like, purchased a bunch of wheels.
Yeah, for Salomon then.
Yeah.
Okay. And then with Salomon, that was where the original question came from. How much did Salomon used to pay to their pro skaters? Like, I know that the first guys that got into Salomon, they used to be paid like the most, like around 98, like Matt Andrews, Arron Feinberg, Jochen Schmude, and who was it? What else? From Japan. What was his name? Chiakito. I think those four guys were like the original Salomon team. But how much did Salomon used to pay to a pro skater like in 2000, 2001?
Well, the first year I was on the national team, which was like, I guess, AM or whatever. It's like, national, obviously, just like in the U.S. you stay or whatever, but they actually flew me internationally that year too. But on that year, they just started me off at $400 a month. And then like the next year when I went to international, it like went up to 1,000, and then the next year it was like 1,400, and then I didn't make it beyond that.
Sorry,
I don't know if I was gonna keep going up after that or what, but at that time I was kind of a lot, because I was getting 1,400 there and then 500 from Senate at one time, so it was like actually more than like a minimum wage job at that time, but it wasn't that much, but for like a young person, it was a lot.
Yeah, and then when did the whole thing started dying for you? What happened there? Or how was the email or the message or the call from Salomon saying, okay, we're done with this? Do you remember that?
No, it was never like because I kind of like predicted it, because I had like a really like, I was just like really crazy on tour, like drinking and like fighting with people in Europe like every night and stuff. And so it was like, just because of that alone, like I think I'm not sure if they would have like even wanted to give me another contract after that or whatever. But on top of that, I was also like just not like skating the comps like I told you, like the ASAs. Like I was just like we would go to like Paris for C and stuff, and I just like didn't have like the nerves to like skate in the big like skate park arena and stuff like that, and just like I didn't like hold up my duties as like a performer really.
I know exactly what you mean. I kind of felt the same. I was never on the pro team for USD, but I was on European pro team, and I remember going to places and like just feeling that everyone is trying to be better than you. You kind of feel like you're being judged, and then that makes you not want to skate. It makes you want to find excuses not to skate, makes you whatever. And I somehow understand what you're trying to tell me, but so you end up not getting a contract with Salomon before they really jump out of skating.
Yeah, no, it was like I just got like a 1-year contract at a time, so like kind of like towards the end of like the last tour like that I was on, like I was just like had been getting in so many fights, I almost got arrested, and one of like the homies got arrested like because of a fight that I probably started and like stuck in. It was just all bad, like just I was a bad person to have on tour for them, kind of almost, It kind of like it just felt like I just kind of said it out loud, like on like one of the last days. I was like, yeah, well, I don't know if I'll be here next year or something like that. And then like nobody said anything, and like Rob Thompson's like, no, you better be here, and like Brandon Campbell's like, yeah, you better be here, or something like that. But it was just like the manager didn't say anything, and I was like, all right, like, yeah, I probably won't,
Okay.
But
and are you still in contact with any of those guys?
just Aaron, like I talked to Aaron on Facebook once in a while, I was hoping he would be at the Northwest Shred Tour, but hopefully next year.
That's cool.
I don't really like. I follow Vinny. Like I've seen his like wedding videos and stuff, but I haven't kept in touch with anybody. Like know him in a personal basis. Like almost nobody from that time.
And then the question is like, did you progressively ended up stop skating? Did you never stop skating, or how did the whole thing? How did the whole thing happen after those Salomon tours?
Yeah, that's why it's kind of weird, like, just thinking about, like quitting, like, just the word, like, quitting, and, like, when people say I quit and stuff, it's like, I didn't really, like, intentionally quit, obviously, like, it was just, like, it was more of, like, a progressive thing, like you said, like, once that happened, like, it was kind of like, all right, well, now I can, like, skate USDs if I want to, or whatever, like, it's kind of cool, like, and I was still skating and stuff. I wasn't, like, I needed, like, a sponsor to, like, skate, like it wasn't anything like that. It was just like because I was out there in school in Santa Barbara, so it's like I grew up in Orange County, which is like 2 hours like south of there, and so like I kind of when I went off to college was like when I was really like everything was like exploding with Senate and Salomon, and like after the first year I ended up having to take a year off so that I could just travel and not even have to worry about school and stuff. And so it was just like blowing up for me. But I was away from my home. I was like up north in school in Santa Barbara, but like there was plenty of rollerbladers there. I like developed like new friends and new relationships over there. My whole like college experience like going on at the same time. And I just like I kind of like lost touch with like all those dudes that I grew up skating with and stuff, like I came back a little bit like around the time of like
you kind of felt like every time that you were going back you were out of the normal reality, right?
Yeah,
you were living something different from everyone else, but then when you go back to your old friends and all that, you kind of feel like you're not part of their lives anymore.
Yeah, because like in high school, because when I was in high school and like Joe and Josh Petty and Kevin Gill and all those FP guys, like at first Joe lived out in the 909 Valley, like out in the East California, whatever it's called, the Inland Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like an hour and a half away from me, but it was like still close enough that I could go out there and like do a little sessioning and stuff. But then all those guys ended up moving to Orange County, like 10 minutes away from me. So like when I was like 17 and I like got out of high school, it was like I'd just go hang out with the homies and go skate and like just like that was like those were my high school friends. Like weren't even like in my high school and stuff. You know, they're just like from all over like America, just like 2 cities over, just randomly because rollerblading blew up like where I happened to grow up. You know, it's like.
Mm-hmm.
It was just weird.
You were lucky to be
and
there.
Then, like,
so, did you ever move to the FP house, or it was just close to your place and you ended up hanging out together?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I never lived there. They lived all around me. Like they, like sometimes they'd be to the north. Like sometimes they're down in like South County. But like there was like a good like 5-6 years that they were just like right around there, right around where I grew up.
But
and then I just moved away and like tried to like halfway do like the college thing, and like when I came back it was like never the same, you know. Like I was different and the whole thing was like different.
Yeah, I was like, do you still talk to Josh Petty?
No, I don't. I don't talk to any of those guys really.
Yeah. And do you even have Josh Petty as a friend on Facebook or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you saw the post that Josh Petty did like a few months ago?
Like about like the just bad influences and stuff like
about
that?
the drinking and drugs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever felt like somehow that affected like being around those guys? Or I don't know, I'm not saying you did or you didn't, but being around those guys or doing that type of things or being with guys doing that type of things ever affected your choices in skating or your choices in life or anything like that?
Well, I mean, if anything, I was a bad influence to them, you know? But it was like...
You think that you were more of a bad influence to them than they were to you? Or it was just a whole thing? It was just... Because usually, I wouldn't say there's like a trigger in that. It's like, if you're in a group of people, there's always one that starts one thing and then the other one starts another thing. But in the end, they all end up doing a lot of stuff. And in the end, it's...
Yeah, I mean... That's the difference is that they were able to like party and like walk away from it, and I'm like just wasn't able to do that. Like I just like got stuck in like party mode.
Okay, so you really got into the party life, and somehow that party life ended up making the rest of your life stop progressing somehow.
Yeah, I couldn't like balance it out, and like at first it was like going back to the progressive thing. At first it was like. You know, like at first, like it was like, oh, all right, well, I'm gonna like I end up skating less, like because I'm like drinking or something, and then it's like, but I could still like have a hangover and go skate the next day and like do like awesome tricks. So I'm like just not even like worried about it or anything, you know, until all of a sudden, like then I only skate like once every 3 months or something, and like. Yeah, I can't do all the tricks that I think I can, and then
you get hurt.
Then it's 16 minutes a year, and then before I knew it, like even when I wanted to skate, I couldn't like my body wouldn't do like what I thought I was able to do like anymore, you know, and like and then I didn't skate like even when I wanted to skate, I didn't skate anymore after that, you know, and it was like
you kind of start feeling depressed with your own skating. Can these be the word? Like it's like I don't know if you ever felt the same. I was never into drugs or anything like that, but I remember when I first started skating, like traveling more and skating. I don't know if I can say skating for a living, but yes, I was getting paid to skate and I was getting more and more known for skating. And then you end up partying a lot more, and whenever you go somewhere, there's always someone wanting to pay you a drink, or you end up partying way too much when everyone just parties on Saturdays and Sundays. If you travel all week, you're gonna have someone wanting to give you something to drink or something else to drink every single day of the week. And then what happens is that the next day you try to skate and your body doesn't work the same way. So with me, what I kind of start feeling was like I ended up having my own comfortable tricks, and it was my way to go to live with it. So it's like there was a few tricks that I could do no matter what, but in the end I end up losing some of the stuff that I used to do before. I don't know if you ever felt like this, but then with time you start losing more and more stuff, and you start feeling frustrated with your skating. Did you ever felt like frustrated with your skating? Like probably that's what you were saying now, is like you started skating less and less and less, and then you started feeling that you couldn't even do your own comfortable tricks, so that...
Yeah, but it was weird because it went in like cycles. Like all of a sudden in like 2011, then I could like do tricks all of a sudden again, and then like 2 years later, like it was like even worse than before. But now it's like I finally get it now. Like it's like you have to actually like treat it like a learning process, like you do anything else. Like rather than just like go try a royale and then go try a royale again, and don't think about like what you did wrong and like how you're like adjust and like
and
to
it's
actually like study it.
And you need to adjust to it, like just like you said, because like a lot of things change, huh? Like skates change, body changes, your mind changes, like the reasons why you do it change. So in the end, it's like you said, like you need to adapt. You need to, I don't know. But what's your relationship with skating? Do you still skate? I saw like a video of you a few months ago with those Flying Eagle 3-wheel skates. The question before going into those big wheels things is, do you still have any aggressive skates? Do you still go to the park every now and then, or do you still... You're like more like a rail skater, but do you still skate like that every now and then?
Yeah, I do both, you know, like I would, you know, like I was like when I progressively like got out of it and I got like bigger and bigger, and like I like gained a lot of weight, and then where I just like couldn't skate at all like how I wanted to. So I just like, you know, when I did start losing weight, I was like, you know, I wonder when I'm going to be able to skate again, because like it's like when I'm trying to do that for my exercise, it's like hurting my knees like a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And like I can't handle it, so it's like I had to ride my bike to lose weight for a while, you know? But once I got down like enough so that I could actually like skate without like hurting like really bad, like from my own weight, then I started like rolling on like I found some like 80 millimeter Salomons at a thrift store, like 4x80.
So you end up buying Salomon skates again, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so I started skating on those for a while, like just, you know, a couple miles here and there, like just, and I was like starting to like get like my movements back, like, and I was, you know, thinking like, all right, I might be able to try like aggressive again, you know, now. And like, I had, just because I know, like, you know, I never really thought I'd like quit, you know, like, I mean, I never admitted to myself that I quit, really, you know.
I know exactly the feeling.
Like, I already had picked up some Salomons at that point, you know, from this guy in France, I think, or Germany or something. And so I already had some aggressive skates on deck at that point. So yeah, I started like just rolling around, like trying to find out where the sessions were, like in Orange County and stuff. And I was like starting to get a little momentum on that, you know, like starting to get back into the groove of things. Just kind of doing both, you know, like, because I like distance skating, like I like it for like cardio and exercise, and like what I really like more than anything is like blending the two, like making it like kind of a hybrid thing where it's like in the scene from Airborne, you know, and they're like jumping up on the ledge and then jumping into the street, like where you're like
the feeling of just cruising around and being able to do tricks, but at the same time rolling, right?
Yeah, like powerblading.
Yeah, I think
like,
most of us that grew up in the same era skating, we were used to skates before they have like really, really tiny wheels. We were used to skates that used to roll. Like when you first started, you used to just skate, right? Before starting doing tricks, you used to skate.
Yeah.
And I was like, but then in the early 2000s, everyone that started skating in the early 2000s, most of the kids, all they knew was just grinding. So it was like skating 4, 5, 6 meters into a ledge and grind the ledge and then skate the other way back, or the same in a rail.
Yeah.
But if you grew up in the 90s, you were used to skate. You used to just go to a launch ramp. There was no quarter pipe a lot of times before the launch ramp. You need to skate to the launch ramp, and then it was a different thing. Yeah. But a lot of people ended up losing it because of the 2000s era of skating. It was just like skating 5 meters before the ledge, and that was it. That was the skating back then. So I'm happy that somehow the whole thing is changing, and like with this big wheels thing. And I was really happy when I saw your thing with the Flying Eagle skate. How did the whole Flying Eagle skates thing happen? Did you bought the skate? Did they give you the skates? Why did you thought about filming something with it?
I just got the skates from Jeff Lynette, who does the
Flying Eagle USA. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so he just like, I knew him from college. He was in Santa Barbara in the same city at that time around 2000 when I was in college up there. So I met him when he was like photographing the local like Santa Barbara guys and stuff, and I just knew him from like way before. And he said I had been with my Salomons from the thrift store. I was like, you know, cruising around in the ditches and just doing some stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, we should get you on some newer, more modern skates," you know.
That's cool. And have you still been skating them or not that often?
Yeah, I'm where I moved to in Washington is a lot of hills, so I'm like trying to get some good downhill like
that's sick.
Twisty hats in, you know.
Yeah, don't you feel like the frames are a little bit too short for downhills? When you have like short frames, doesn't it feel like super nervous for the skates?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because they're taller, huh?
Yeah, that's what makes me feel okay, because they're taller. Like I feel like I'm up there and I'm just like rolling like.
Yeah, you're not really scared of the boot touching, and then.
Exactly.
I love that feeling
that's
too.
What I really like them for. I like to hit like the spines and like the hips at skate parks, like at the end of a session, like after I've been sessioning for like 45 minutes or something, and then just throw them on and just do a couple airs for like 10 minutes, and it's just like you're all warmed up and you just hit the transitions like crazy.
That's sick. So the 2017 Billy Prislin loves transitions again. Now, maybe you could go to the ASA Pro now.
I should try.
So how often do you still skate, Billy? Or how often do you skate now? Because like you said, kind of like for a while you weren't really skating, but it seems like you've been enjoying it a lot more, right?
Yeah, now I'm skating about once a week now.
That's
trying to get more than that.
That's really sick, man. I'm happy. I'm seriously happy. Like, that's cool. And do you have like a whole crew that skates with you, or when you go out, you skate by yourself?
Right now, it's by myself. I'm like, I try to meet those guys at the skate park sometimes, you know, but I'm like just trying to find like random weird stuff right now. Like, I don't know, just because like I do like skating the skate parks too, but it's just like I'm trying to do a bunch of different things at once, you know.
Okay, let me make you a question. Who's your favorite skater nowadays? When you look on like social media stuff, or when you look, I don't know, on the internet, there's not that many magazines. Like compared to what it used to be, that you used to like see Daily Bread, and you used to watch like a video, like a DVD, or before that was even a VHS or whatever.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite skater?
There's so many. I can't really say I have a favorite because there's like so many good skaters, but Roscow's like really sick.
He used to be on Senate team in the same time as you, right? He was still
No.
an M. I think he was an M on Senate when you were still in Senate, probably. Yeah, I think he was on K2 and Senate, but he was probably just, yeah, he might have been just never meet the rest of the team or something like that. And have you ever?
The last like Senate wheel that I had, I never even like saw like a set of those wheels or anything like. So yeah, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised.
How many Senate wheels did you got? I was looking yesterday. I was trying to do my homework because I didn't remember of any of your Senate wheels. I was looking around for Billy Prislin Senate wheels. I didn't remember like in my head, so I started looking for it, and I saw it at the STI skate from Salomon came with those bluish logo, whatever. But did you add any other pro model from?
There was another blue one, like red after that or whatever, and then there was the first one was like some yellow and black.
And that was the one that you never got.
Yeah.
All good. One question. What do you think of skating nowadays? Like, not even what we were saying about like the big wheels or anything like that, but like, have you ever thought how different it is for like a pro skater nowadays? It's like you come from an era that you used to skate and that was it. Someone would hit you up to go to a competition. They would pay for your own travels and all that stuff. And the skaters nowadays, like most of the times, they need to pay from their own pocket to go to an event or for travel. Most of them, not everyone, of course, but they need to promote themselves. They need to market themselves, like with the social media, and like most of them are able to edit their own videos, or at least they're able to do. Yeah, they need to on their Instagrams and stuff like that. Did you ever thought about it? How different it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard, I guess. But I mean, that's awesome that they're able to do that. Like some of them, like Jeff Phillips, like super sick.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. That's like, I couldn't do it, I can't do it now. But that's, it is what it is. Like, I mean, everything in the whole world is like revolves around social media right now anyway. So it's like,
did you edit your own video? Did you edit your own, that Flying Eagle video? Was it edited by you, or you gave the clips to someone else to edit?
I gave it to someone else, but I was like, really wanted it to be like a certain way, and he listened to me about it.
That's cool. And you were into music, like electronic music and stuff like that. So you used to make your own music, or?
No, just DJing, like just matching records. I really like matching records. Like, just it's like a science art kind of.
But and like I remember, and it was one of the questions that some people made on Facebook. Did you chose the music on your VG8 profile, that Gangstar song?
No, it was at first we really wanted to use this DJ. What's his name? Like Cool Keith, and it was like that song where he's like, "I see the light. Is it shining too bright?" And there's like a little kid like that says like the chorus like, "I see the light," and I don't know, it's just like this sick like Cool Keith song, but we couldn't get the rights to that, and then for some reason they put that one on, and it was just like ended up being like my calling card or whatever.
But you said something really cool right now. So they used to need to get the rights for the songs used in the VG videos. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, Dave Paine, yeah, he wanted to get the rights on everything. I mean, not everybody. I think he's like one of the only ones that like was like wanted to like do that or had the like means to hold out and do that. Like, so he would use like tracks from his brother, and like, he would get people give him stuff to use sometimes too.
But that's really, really cool, because a lot of people always like. I think a lot of people thinks that back then no one thought about it, no one would think about it, and I know that some people had problem with their music they used, and they got sued and stuff like that. I know that 50/50 got a problem with the Faint song that they used. I think it was on a Farmer Profile, but it's cool that you say that, so people will be aware of it. So you were speaking about Joe Phillip. He made us a question on Facebook. Have you seen that? He was asking, why was Savannah your favorite trick?
Yeah.
Was it your favorite trick?
Yeah, there was a time when it was, like I guess it's my favorite part about that trick, and what made it my favorite trick is that it's like you go from rolling forward and you're kind of like spinning on the rail, and you do a 360 and you end up forward again, like where it's like a 360 with a
it's like
like you go from forward to forward and there's a grind in the middle, and
you're like glowing on the rail, so like gliding on the rail.
I love that. I love tricks like that where it's like you're going one way, you turn another way, and then somehow your body does like these crazy rotations, like, but you were doing grinds the whole time. Like, I just like that a lot.
That's sick. And now the other question was, do you call it? That one would be you would call it a Savannah, right? Would you call the other one a true spin backside Savannah or an alley-oop unity?
The one that everybody calls a Savannah, I would call a backside alley-oop unity.
Okay. So for you, a Savannah is like a 270 alley-oop backside unity. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one and only Savannah. So if you say it, it needs to be like that because you were the master of it.
Yeah. It's always the same people arguing about what it actually
man,
is.
you're giving the rules, man. You're giving the rules. You have the right to give the rules. If you can do it without the frame touching like you did it, you could. I don't know how you did it, but you do it. You used to do it with just the boot sometimes. I don't know how the frame didn't touch on that trick.
Yeah, I don't know either because I can't exactly do that anymore.
Maybe you can now. If you still do it on the boot, you can even do it with those 3-wheel skates now. If you do it just on the boot.
I wish. It's so hard to actually get all the way down on the boot. Like from those 125 millimeters, like, wow.
Yeah, have you seen that guy Tree Rodolph?
Yeah.
That's, I don't know how he does that. He can do like full torques, and I'm still waiting on the putt slide. So let's see. Hey, Tree, I know you're gonna listen to this. So if you listen to this, I'm waiting on the putt slide on the 125s. Come on.
Oh.
You got it. Okay, so we had some questions here. And from all your section, from there was this guy John Lee from the UK. He asked us, from all your sections, which one was your favorite one? Which one did you like the most of yourself?
BG8 for sure.
That was my favorite one by far too. I like that true spin kind right in the end. That was like somehow like a game changer.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I felt really good about the true spin alley Makio, just for the same reason of what I just explained about the Savannah. It's like just rolling forward, like hauling ass, and like with a little alley Makio in the middle, and then end up rolling forward again.
Yeah. That was sick too. Like the way you used to do it was crazy, because the way you used to do that, those true spin alley-oop Makios, you used to do it as the far side thing, like full commitment. It was like,
right.
I don't know if you used to think of an alley-oop Fishbrain, but you used to go straight into the alley-oop Fishbrain side, so it was crazy the way you used to do those.
Yeah,
And always with the grab that used to look super sick. Can you still do true spin alley-oop Makios?
thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm getting true spin Mizus more comfortably so that I could eventually get there. And I think I'll get that a lot sooner than I get the LA fish frame.
What skates are you skating right now? Which aggressive skates do you have?
Brandon Campbell, Solomon.
That's sick. You use the wide bodies or without the wide bodies? Those plates.
I had the wide bodies on while I was on the shred tour, but there's not. I don't know. I felt like trying something else, so I'm like, I just put some carbon soles on, and I'm like waiting to go skate them with the carbon sole on there.
I remember that those Salomon skates, when you put the wide bodies, they become like completely different. You lose that feeling of grinding with the skates because you're grinding so far from your foot. There's way too much plastic, and like when you do like a backslide or a torque, it kind of feels like you don't need to bend your foot anymore. And I don't know, seeing the way that you used to skate must be super weird to have like such a wide body, like they call it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it just puts my foot in the wrong groove. Like it doesn't like groove up in the right spot. So yeah.
Now I have another question here. You remember Clark Kirkman?
No.
Okay, there's this guy. He was actually really, really good. He's like, I think he used to be in Woodward East a lot. I don't know where he actually lives, but he made a question which was there any basic trick that used to scare you a lot? Was there any basic trick that you were scared of? Like with me, I used to be scared of soles. Like I could do like a back savannah, not a back savannah. Now you said it. So I used to to do like a true spin backside unity like on a 20 stair rail, but if I would need to sole it, I would struggle with it. But was there any trick like that for you?
Yeah, I never really did Fishbrains or Makios because I would always like. Every trick that I did, I felt like I knew a way to get out of it without like falling or like hitting any shin or anything, except for like a Fishbrain. Like if I missed, I would just slam my shin like so hard. And like because my other hand's like going for a grab or whatever, like I have no like protection like to like get out of it. I'm just like fully committed, and I'm just like I never wanted to do a Fishbrain. Like I mean, I always wanted to do them, but I never felt like jumping onto one like confidently.
Rails or ledges or both?
Everything. I hate ledges. Like just in general, I hate ledges. Like,
but you used to be good in it, huh? You used to, like, I think you were one of the first ones that I've seen doing like an alley-oop top sole on a ledge, like a hubba.
Yeah, that's super frightening though. It's like, oh man. Even when I did those tricks, I just remember thinking I was like how dangerous it was.
I know, it's commitment, huh?
Yeah.
You really need to commit to those ones. And then there's like this guy from Germany. His name is Jens Kufner. He asks us, what was your he says the 5 best memories that you have. Like we don't need to number, like to give a top 5. Like what was the best memories that you had from the Senate days?
Senate days.
You can. I wouldn't even limit it to the Senate days. Which are like your best memories from skating? If you had to remember of something, which was the best moment that you ever lived related to skating?
Yeah, the best moment.
Yeah, I know it's a hard one because like for someone who did it for so long and traveled so much and all that, there must have been like
the best moment or the best 5 moments?
The best moment. Let's limit to one.
Probably just because I have to just pick one. There's no one, but just watching Arron win the London NIST, like, it was just or maybe it was London ASA, I think.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Wow.
Just so many, just watching Arron do skate.
Yeah, I know. Like Arron, like it's still crazy to think that we are in 2017, and in my opinion, he is still probably one of the best transition skaters ever. You'll see like a lot of guys like the Roman Abrati and all these guys that are really really good, really really sick in skate park and being able to do like 1260s and double flips and all that, but somehow Arron used to have something that you don't see it still. Like I don't know, it just I remember seeing those ASA contests on TV and seeing Arron doing 540 transfers. Like still you don't see people doing them nowadays, so it just you must have been like really sick to hang out with Arron the way you did. And
the difference is when you watch all that stuff on TV and watch all that stuff on video, and you end up becoming like an Arron Feinberg fan, and you're just like, oh man, he's so good. But you still don't even know how good he is until you skate with him in person and you watch him do all that stuff like first try.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you mean. And a lot of times like you see a trick on the video, and then when you see the spot in real life, like, did he really did this here? It's just sometimes in TV, on TV or on a video, it makes sense. But then when you get there, it's a.
And anybody who's seen Arron skate in person knows what I'm talking about too.
I've seen Arron skate a few times, and I've seen Arron skate like the first time was in Lausanne in '98, I think. Yeah, in '98. That was when he first got into Salomon. So the whole original Salomon team was there. And I remember it was the year after he won, yes. It was just way ahead of everyone. Like, and it was cool. Yeah. Like, it was cool because I remember when everyone was skating like baggy pants, it was like just skating casual, like Levi's, whatever. It was just.
Did you ever see that one? Did you see that one ad where he's got like the Senate socks like all hiked up, and he's just like, it's hilarious.
I haven't.
He's got like he's got like these like green and white like Senate socks like all hiked up, and it's just like, it's like before he really blew up like huge. Like it was like right after he won the X Games, but like he wasn't as huge as he ended up being, you know.
Mm-hmm. It was still like super. I haven't seen that one. I don't remember seeing that one. I gotta Google it, but it might be hard to find it now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what else. I had this guy. Probably you don't remember. There was this guy from the UK, Mike Willand. He was asking, "Do you remember you and Santiago skating completely drunk in Paris after two young British guys banged your hotel room like for you guys to go skate, and it was like the four of you guys just skating through Paris?" Or
I remember something like that, but I didn't know it was Paris.
There was too many of those days back then, huh?
Yeah. I remember one night in particular when we got kicked out of the hotel and we were like skating around like somewhere like super drunk, but and I was talking to somebody on Instagram about that, so I don't know if that's the same guy, but I didn't know it was Paris. And yeah.
Do you still drink, or do you still drink that often?
No, I'm quit drinking now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And do you feel like your life changed? Like, I don't know, like.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was like before I could do anything. I knew that that's what I had to do. Like, just because like once that change happened, where it changed from like I didn't want to skate, and so I wasn't skating, to I wanted to skate, but I physically wasn't able to skate.
Mm-hmm.
I knew like I had to stop that. Like if I was gonna like lose weight, and if I was ever gonna like try and skate, like that would have to be the first step. Like no matter what.
Yeah.
So.
I think I got you. What type of drinks did you used to drink? Like party
Mostly
drinks or like?
like beer, mostly just a lot of beer, like every day.
Yeah, that makes you heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what else I got here. Uh, uh, uh. Just give me a second here. Okay. Do you know those guys mushroom blading from Canada?
Yeah.
What do you think of what they do? Have you been following their stuff or even Jan? I know that you listen to the Jan skate talk, and
Yeah.
Jan is right now into big wheels thing a lot. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think of these type of skating nowadays? The way that everyone is going with this, like, not even just the distance skating, but like even the trick skating that people are doing, like those mushroom blading guys and everyone else now. It's just
Dude, it's super sick. I love it. I don't understand how people don't like it. I think it's freaking awesome because, like, those, in my opinion, those two guys are the ones that, like, changed everything and made it, like, actually popular so that people would actually want to make those type of UFS frames to where you can make your skates do big wheel stuff. Like, nobody would even want to do that, I don't think, without those guys.
you mean the mushroom blading guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, that's definitely true because, I mean, I've been following those guys on Facebook for I don't know how long, but just because mushroom blading to me was like a thing before their podcast like existed, you know, and to them too because I saw in their little description they got it from like Nick Riggle or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I always just thought of it as like the way Dominic skates and Nick Riggle skates, like just like weird, like liquid, like random, like stuff, like weird, just flow kind of tricks, like was mushroom blading, you know, to me. And so I was following that page and I was just like, oh yeah, those guys like mushroom blading too. That's cool, you know? And then like the more their videos like started to like come out, like, you know, Big Wheels 1, I was just like, what is this or whatever, you know? And like just like eventually like it got to where I'm like, dude, these guys like are like messing around, but like what they're doing is like freaking super hard, you know?
That's
And like
that's really sick. That so what you're telling me is like just as a proof of everything that you've been saying is like you weren't skating back then, but you were still following whatever they were doing, and you were like getting pumped about it.
yeah, I've always been a fan of skating, even when I, you know, didn't do whatever I didn't do, or you know, I always like followed it. Like I don't always know who like the top guys are or whatever, but like I should like I'm friends with a lot of rollerbladers on Facebook or whatever, so like when people are sharing content and stuff, I check it out, you know. It's like
That's cool.
yeah.
You said something cool for me now, and I want to make you a question that I usually make to everyone that I made this interview with. You said you were friends with a lot of rollerbladers. Do you rollerblade or do you inline skate? I know that in America, most of the people call it rollerblading, but
Yeah.
do you think I don't know, like what's your opinion about this if you have one?
I guess kind of the same as like John, where it's like people don't know what you're talking about, even if they recognize the word inline skating is like it just takes them like an extra second longer, or you might have to give them an extra sentence of explanation rather than if you just say rollerblading, they know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just kind of like there was kind of like a weird time where like that happened too. Anyway, where it was like all of a sudden, just one day, like everybody around Southern California just started calling it rollerblading, like because you know they were tired of calling it aggressive skating because it was just like, why are we calling it aggressive skating? Like we're just rollerblading. So like just randomly one day people just started calling it rollerblading instead of aggressive skating. I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird because like I don't know if you saw the video that I made like a week or two ago, something like that, and there was like all the main events like in the 90s they used to be called inline skating, and then suddenly, like just like it said, people start calling rollerblading, and it's even weird. There was like an interview with Arlo, and in the same interview, he says they were interviewing him about the X Games, the inline skating event, and then he says rollerblading. But even like a few months ago, like 1 year ago probably, when it was the first Nitro Circus, the Nitro Games, they made an interview with Chris Effie, like in the end, because he was the winner. And in the same interview, he says inline skating, and then a few words later, he says rollerblading. So, in my opinion, the only problem here, it doesn't need to be rollerblading or inline skating or whatever. It's just when we call it different names, you know, like for a kid starting, if you say inline skating and rollerblading, just like you said, they might not know that we're talking about the same. So
yeah,
that's where I see a problem, if you can call it. But anyway, just wanted to know what's your opinion about it.
It's just simplicity, just to keep it simple.
Yeah, makes sense to me. All good. Okay, so it's 6 a.m. here. We've been talking for about an hour, I think. I think we're gonna call it for for this interview. You happy with it? Is there anything that you would like to say or that I didn't mention?
Oh yeah, because one person asked me if I was gonna be working on an edit. So
yeah,
I'm working on an edit right now, and I really would like to find a filmer so that I could work on like a longer edit, like 4 to 6 minutes. Anybody
that's sick
wants to,
I can put it out. We'll put it out there and try to get a filmer for you. I would like to release that video if you want. I'll like to, whenever you publish it, I'll try to push it a little bit too. That'll be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. So let's put it out there. If there's anyone listening to this living in the Washington area, if you want to film with Billy Prislin and make like a comeback at it, you want to make it like street skating, or you want to mix a little bit of everything?
Yeah, mostly street skating, but yeah.
Okay, you got to do some of those SAVANNAHS without the frame touching then, with the 125s.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the requirement. That's to get somebody to work on the project with me. That has to be one of the tricks.
That's cool. Let's try to put it out there and let's see if someone in that area do you know about a lot of skaters or about some skaters in that area skating, or?
Yeah. There's a lot of skaters around here, yeah, for sure.
That's cool. All good. Let's make it happen then. Okay, so like I was saying, and for those of you who are listening to this and don't know, so there's like a 9-hour difference between Washington and South Africa, where I am right now. So right now it's 6 a.m. I had to wake up around 4:30 to make this interview with Billy, and it's 9 p.m. Is that it?
Yep.
9:15 in Washington. So thank you, Billy, so much for taking the time to do this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be pleased to listen to you and to have some of your opinions, and hopefully, like you said, there's some things that you're probably not that proud about or not. You did it. It doesn't matter. So I hope some people who's going through the same will probably be able to kick out of it before.
Yeah. It's good to talk about. I'm glad to get a chance to actually say my side of it a little bit, and I'm really glad that I could come on here with you. I was really stoked when you hit me up about it, so I really appreciate that.
Man, you're like I said before, I started this by saying that you used to be like, I did add a lot of favorite skaters, but for a long time. For a long time, I used to see that video part for way too long, and having that music, that Gangstar song playing on my Walkman, man, non-stop. You know when he used to skate with the headphones? So
Chris Happy's beat 20 section, I did the same thing.
I know exactly what that is. Like with that, I remember skating with the big ass Walkman on my pocket with that song. It was just way too cool. And like those true spin kind runs, it took me so long to get them. And even like true Makios, the true top passage that you said, the one with the fifth elements, the white ones, I saw first.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a GIF of it. I don't remember what video was it. Was it espionage? Probably espionage. I remember seeing just a little GIF of that true top acid and going out and try it and like how the hell does he put? I didn't even knew the name of it. It was like he spins the true spin way and then it's like a topside acid. It wouldn't make sense to me. And the way he did it, because you didn't really put any effort into it. Somehow it felt like you said, just like a 360 with your feet somehow sliding in between. So it was like super, super sick. So thank you so much for helping the progression of this sport and for still being related to it. For like a lot of people that say that you quit and this and that, like I think someone that ever been that much into this will never be able to quit. Even if you're not doing it on a daily basis, you're like your heart is still there. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's how I feel, man.
Oh, good,
Coming
man.
back.
It was really nice talking to you, man. Huh? So thank you so much, Billy. I'll stay in contact with you, and let's try to find you someone to film like a 2017 video part. Okay.
Nice.
Stay skating, man. Cheers.
All right, take it easy.
And that was it. I'm like super, super stoked to have this conversation, like I said, with one of my childhood heroes, Mr. Billy Prislin, pro for Salomon, pro for Senate. Like he said, he was never able to make it to as an ASA pro, but man, I think if you were skating in the 90s, you remember this name, Billy Prislin. So he's still out there skating. He's right now trying to find someone in the Washington area to help him film something. So it would be quite cool. I wish I was in that area. I would be the one for sure trying to help this guy and try to film something and trying to push him a little bit to get even more into it. So if you're in that area, if you can do that, if you can help him a little bit with that, that would be super sick. I would love to see it. For everyone else listening to this, even if you're not in the Washington area, thank you so much for listening to this. And that's it. If you're not subscribing to the channel, might be the best time to do it right now. There's like a little button saying subscribe underneath this video on the right side. If that button is red, that means that you're not subscribing to this channel. Click on it, it's gonna become white. And then on the side of that subscribe button, there's a little bell. If you click on that bell, you'll get notifications every time I upload a video or one of these interviews, skate talks, whatever you want to call it. If you did like this video, don't forget to give me some thumbs up. If you didn't, well, give me some thumbs down. In the end, just trying to get some feedback from you guys. I'm trying to get better at this and trying to grow inline skating. Some of you call it rollerblading. So let's together try to make these bigger and bigger and bigger and use this social media platform, which is YouTube, which is growing every single day. And the more we grow these channels, the more these big social media platform will suggest this to new people, and hopefully new kids will get into this sport. Thank you guys for listening to this. See you soon. Cheers.
Vou viver até quando